People are always like, when do you get a job? I literally can't. By the time I'm done with 9 a.m. Pilates, then I go on like a 45-minute to an hour-long walk. Then I get an iced latte. Then I go home and do like my shower and skincare routine. By the time I'm done with all of that, it is noon. So I simply cannot.
This might be an unpopular opinion, but it's just how I feel. Being a single divorced mom of one is elite. I get 50% of custody of my daughter. So when I am with her, I'm not overwhelmed. I'm not overstimulated. I love bath time. I love reading stories. I love going to the parks. I love changing diapers. I love all of it. And then when she's with her dad, I get my pre-baby life back. I get my freedom back. I get my autonomy back. I get to go hang out with my friends and not worry about a babysitter or how to even get out of the house in general. I get to sleep in. I get to sit on the couch and watch however many episodes of Love Island I want with nobody bothering me or telling me otherwise. I was so miserable in my marriage, and I was really, really struggling with the idea of having like a broken family. And, it just got to a point where like there was no other option. Like we had to separate, and I was really, really concerned. But now that like the divorce is finalized, we're settled in our new schedule, I'm like, oh my God, why didn't we think of this sooner? It's so much better.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
This confirms what many men say nowadays. Most women don't want to be wives. They want the wedding and the ring, but they prefer to remain single within the marriage because many don't want the responsibility of the household. She says she's happy as a single mother. And of course, how can you argue with that? She has most of the custody, receives monthly payments from the father, and if the divorce was with a man who had good assets, she probably took 50% plus child support, and in some cases even alimony. Now she has money, fewer responsibilities, and feels happy. Because responsibility is kryptonite for women.
Stop.
It's terrifying,
Stop.
man.
Just break in my car. They're right there. This is what she's doing. You want to break your window? Good. Good.
It's just scary, G. There's men out here that are staying in these situations. If she is acting like this in front of her child, is she really for you, homie? This is why I tell you guys all the time, find a wife, man. Pick and choose wisely and understand that these women can tear your life apart. And I know there's men out here that don't believe that until it happens to them. There are women that are crazy, homie. Women that will tear you right down and put your ass right in prison. No questions asked. They don't have any remorse. Pick and choose wisely, homie. Find a woman of God. It's the best piece of advice I can ever give you, man. Find a woman who proves to you that she brings her problems to God, that she talks to God, that you guys build your relationship with God. It's the only way, homie. It's the only way. There's men out here that are trying to make these 304s housewives. It ain't gonna happen, G. If she's acting like this, homie, it's gonna be nothing but destruction. Nothing but drama and stress and something you shouldn't be dealing with the rest of your life, G. It ain't no joke. This shit ain't no joke.
Oh, hell no!
Absolutely, brothers. There's a Bible verse that says, "A wise woman builds her home, but a foolish one tears it down with her own hands." And brother, let me tell you, not all women were born to be wives, much less to be mothers. How could you possibly destroy the car of the man who was your partner? And worse, with the little girl in your arms. She could have been hurt, and clearly, she didn't care. If she doesn't care about her daughter, she's even less going to care about her husband. And the saddest part is that he can only take out his phone and record, because if he ever tries to touch her, even just to protect the girl, he ends up in jail. That's the unfair reality many men live. Stay safe, brother. Not all women build a home. Some come to destroy it from within.
Women.
I really wish that more men realize that when women are talking about things like sexism and socialization and rape culture, this is about misogyny shaping our lives since the moment we were born and the daily reality of living in fear of violence. This shit is not just a political conversation. This is our lives. This isn't a fucking game or something that should be some sort of philosophical debate. A lot of times in online spaces, women can talk openly and truthfully about our realities without fear of physical retribution. And instead of listening, men choose to come into these spaces and call us liars or harass us more.
I forgot my wallet. You might have to use your card.
Oh, no, baby. We're going to have to turn back around and go back to the house.
For what?
I only wanted to come because I thought we was using your money. So we're going to have to make a U-turn, go back to the house, and get your wallet, and then we can go.
No.
It's only $50.
I pay for it.
You are my man. You're supposed to pay for everything. Okay, well, I'm leaving then.
What?
I left my wallet.
Your wallet?
I left my wallet at home, yeah. So either we gonna get back there and wash dishes or, you know what I'm saying, you can pay for it real quick.
Me?
Yeah.
Pay for all this? You got 5 things.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm not paying that.
I got you.
You better call somebody to come bring your wallet. I'm not paying that.
What are you talking about? We drove an hour away to the restaurant. Come on now.
That's embarrassing. You want me to pay for your food?
What?
To you, your money is my money. My money is not your money, okay? That's how it works in this relationship.
Who gonna wash dishes because it ain't gonna be me? I'm not paying $50 for this.
Everybody's man is paying for them, and then you're sitting here leaving your wallet at home. Why would you leave your wallet at home? That's irresponsible.
God damn it! You can't make this shit up!
The first video shows a Western woman living in one of the most free countries in the world for women, yet she still feels oppressed by a patriarchy that doesn't exist. The system was designed precisely to protect her, to amplify her voice, even above the law in many cases. If she had been born in Afghanistan, in a Muslim country where she has to cover her entire body in black for the rest of her life, then she would have real reasons to talk about oppression. But no, she lives with total freedom and still feels like a victim. And about the women who get angry when asked to pay for a meal, those same women will never be by your side when you fall. What you're seeing here, brothers, is something every man should do at least once. Test his woman. Because if she disqualifies you as a man at the first test, she's showing you she's not someone you can build an empire with.
I think it's interesting how many women will come on social media and they'll say something about how their husband is being a crappy husband, and in the same breath, they'll say, but he's a good dad. But when will women start to realize if someone is not treating the mother of their children correctly, they're not treating you well, they actually are not being a good dad? Your daughter will marry someone like your husband. You can tell your daughter to have high standards, but if she sees her mom settling for crappy behavior, she'll do the same. And if you have a son, that man is not being a good father if he's not treating you well, because your son is going to go on and not treat women well. It is like one of the biggest lies. Anytime I hear someone say he's a good dad, but not a good husband. No, he is failing partially as a father if he is not treating his wife like a queen. I've seen this happen in families where everyone's like, oh, he was such a good dad, but he was like cheating on his wife the whole time. I have seen this in a family, and all of the daughters are now divorced because they married these crappy guys, because they had a terrible example in their father. Because if your husband is not a good husband to you, he is not a great father. He is just a bare minimum father standing in and being a dad. A good, great, exceptional father treats the mother of his children exceptionally.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
This is very hypocritical. They sell the idea that in every marriage the woman is an excellent wife who treats her husband like a king. But when a man is recognized as a good father, it's often because he's doing what's right despite not having a good wife by his side. And that's not all. Many daughters end up with losers, even though they had a good father present, not because they lacked a father figure, but because they grew up seeing a mother who was anything but a good wife. And what do they do afterward? They look for a weak man they can control, someone they can treat the way they saw their father being treated at home. But they don't say that, do they?
Stop normalizing your husband hating you. Stop it. I see a handful of videos every single day of women on this app and the other being silly, being goofy, being themselves, and their husbands having just fucking disdain for them. And it's visible. I can see it. You can see it. She can see it. And it's just this like, ha ha ha, my husband finds me so annoying. No. If my husband is not obsessed with me, 99% of the time, I won't have him. Your spouse should not openly dislike your personality. They should not openly be annoyed by you. Like, yes, am I annoyed by my husband sometimes? Sure. But 99% of the time, I look at that man like he is the most prized possession in the world. And I 1,000% expect him to look at me the same way. If you ever catch my husband on camera looking at me the way some of these husbands look at their wives, divorce. Divorce immediately. Stop normalizing your husband openly hating you.
You know what makes me laugh about this? According to her, she has the perfect husband. He cleans, takes care of her, is loving, a good father, the whole package. And what does that man, who looks at her like she's the most precious thing in the world, get in return? Nothing. Because there's another video of hers where she says they go up to 3 months without having sex, and they even sleep in separate rooms. How the hell do you have the perfect man and don't even want to sleep with him? Do you know why this happens? Because many women say they want one thing, but they're attracted to the opposite. If a woman doesn't have that urge to touch you, to look for you several times a week, brother, that woman doesn't love you. She just wants a provider. She wants to say she's married. And for that, it's better to stay single.
Okay, if you had an affair and you are keeping that from your spouse to protect your marriage, you are actually doing the exact opposite. I get that cheating can be a one-time thing in certain situations, but here's the thing. You do not have the right to withhold that information from your spouse because it affects them. And knowing that information, once they know it, they may very well not want to be in their relationship anymore, but that is their decision to make. You made the choice to step out on your marriage. Let them make the choice whether they want to stay in it or not. It's not fair to keep them in a relationship where they don't really have all the facts. Like, they don't really know you because you're being completely two-faced with them. So if you do anything, have integrity. Have integrity, tell your spouse about it, let them decide if that is something that they want to overcome and work through with you, but be upfront.
Hell to the no, no. Hell no.
Or simply, don't cheat on your husband. The saddest part of infidelity is that, almost always, the man is the last to find out. We'll see more about this in another video later. I've always said there are 3 types of cheating. The one that happens as revenge because the man was unfaithful. The one that occurs when the man goes through a financial crisis and the woman leaves with someone who has more money. And the one that hurts the most, when the man is excellent, he's a good partner, sexually active, financially stable, and yet, she cheats on him. That last case hurts twice as much, because then you know that other man is who she really wants, not you. As I always say, I don't forgive cheating. But you guys, what do you think?
Shit that women will do when they get caught. I'm telling you, dog. You know what I mean? From fucking yelling to screaming to crying to whining to blaming it on you. They don't want to get caught. That's it. There's nothing else to it. You guys gotta understand. You gotta have that respect for yourself as a man. You know what? Shut the door. Just like this motherfucker. Just shut the door. Have a good rest of your life. That's it. You know what I mean? She gonna fucking throw a fit. She gonna blame it on you. Everything's gonna be on you. They're only sorry because they got caught. That's it. Stay cold. Stay relentless. The moment you find her cheating on you, the moment you find out she's disrespecting you, dog, have a good rest of your life. Peace out. You know what I mean? Fuck you. That's it. You go on with your life and you better yourself. It's such a power to be able to walk away, dog. She'll never understand that shit. They won't. Okay. How and why was he able to just walk away? He must have had more options. He must be better than I thought he was. She don't respect you. That's it. She don't respect you, motherfucker. So that is the way she gonna respect you after that. You know what? Like, she'll never understand why you could leave so fast, dog. Have love for yourself, motherfucker. Have love for yourself.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
When a woman betrays you, what she's looking for afterward isn't forgiveness, it's control. That's why they cry, make a scene, play the victim. They're not hurt because they lost you. They're hurt because they can't keep manipulating you. And many fall for it because they don't understand something basic. Respect is not regained with an apology. A man's power lies in his ability to close the door without hesitation. You don't negotiate with someone who crossed the line. There's no, but it was a mistake. There's no, I'm sorry. If she crossed the line, That's it. No yelling, no explanations. Just, good luck to you. That coldness is respect for yourself. No contact is king.
2 weeks ago, saw a text pop up on my wife's phone from a name that sounded familiar, that I wasn't completely sure about. But the text was overly mushy and suggestive, with the kiss face emoji and talk of missing her and can't wait to see her again. Turns out it was her boss, and after me pressing her for why he would send such a message, she confessed they had been having an affair for the last 6 months. She was mad that I looked at her phone, which was just sitting on the kitchen counter. I happened to see the text. I asked her to leave. She did. She came home this morning and is working from home and is acting like nothing is wrong. I'm still a wreck. I am off work until Monday, and I'm replaying her with him in my mind over and over, and I'm about to get sick. We haven't had much of a discussion besides some yelling and me asking her to leave. What should I do? Attempt to reconcile, ask why and hear her side? Do I care why? Tell his wife? Tell the company's HR? What do I tell our young teenage kids? And I'm still not thinking totally straight. I have some pretty intense brain fog.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Responsibility is kryptonite for women. 20 years of marriage, and she cheats on you for over 6 months. And what happens when you find out? She gets angry because you checked her phone. You just can't believe this bullshit. When a woman doesn't feel guilty after betraying you, she's making something clear: she never respected you. That complete lack of remorse isn't a coincidence, it's coldness. For her, the worst thing wasn't breaking the commitment, it was that you found out. That reveals everything you need to know. These kinds of situations are a trial by fire. You're not losing a good woman. You're removing someone from your life who only pretended to be one. And that, even if it hurts, is progress. Because living with someone like that is living with an enemy at home. The real mistake wasn't checking the phone. The mistake was trusting so much in someone who never deserved it.
I don't even know where to start. Today I deleted all my dating apps. I've been single for 4 years, if you haven't seen my other videos. And, I'm done. For now, at least. Seems like every single time that I think I've found a decent person that I'm gonna get along with, or, that I seem to click with, and then, like, even if we hang out, like, things are going well, and we're getting along, something happens. Whether it's like, I don't know if it's like I say something wrong or do something wrong. I don't know what it is, but they leave. They ghost me. And this is another reason I've stayed single for 4 years. And had a guard up. Because I would much rather stay single than continuously get my feelings hurt. Does it suck being alone and not having someone to love on and be loved by? Of course it does. I want someone that I can be like, yeah, that's mine. Someone that I can cuddle up with in bed and, like, love on. someone that I can be intimate with and like show off to my family and get excited about. Of course I want that. But at the same time, I would much rather be alone than have my heart broken or my feelings hurt constantly, weekly, daily, whatever the fuck, by random fucking strangers trying to find this one fucking person.
Well, brothers, she's getting exactly what she wanted, to be alone. Or rather, she's at the wall, because we all know the wall doesn't forgive. Now that she feels the emptiness, she looks for comfort in speeches that sound nice but don't change the reality. Loneliness isn't a free choice when it comes from constant rejection. Many men know what it's like to have no options. But a woman who once had plenty of suitors and ignored them is now facing what comes with age, the wall.
I'm 33 years old. It's 2025. I'm a single mother. And my daughter's dad passed away in 2023. So I don't have somebody helping me with her besides her family, which I'm so thankful and grateful for. And I'm so glad I have an amazing relationship with his family. And I have my family, of course, too, which I am also thankful and grateful for. But yeah. I had somebody today tell me, one of the guys that I was interested in getting to know, basically tell me I was too much. In more words than that, obviously. But he, last week, asked me, we were talking back and forth, and I told him I made the mistake of telling him one of my secrets when it comes to dating apps. And I told him how in my notes section, because I have an iPhone, told him how in my notes section of my phone, I had different notes for like commonly asked questions. Because when you get asked the same questions over and over by people, like, what do you like to do in your free time? Or what do you do for work? Or what do you look for in a partner? I don't want to have to type that out every freaking time I get asked that question. So I created a note for each of those questions. So that way, all I have to do every time I get asked that question is go to my notes section, copy my answer, and then paste it into the message. Easy peasy. Well, I told him about my life hack. And he's like, oh, really? And I said, yeah. And he said, oh, okay, well, what do you look for in a person? And I said, well, it's kind of lengthy, but it's, I feel like my answer isn't crazy. And it wasn't. It was simple things like, I want someone who's honest and loyal and genuine, funny, family oriented, someone who will pick me up when I'm feeling down, but will also let me do the same for them. Someone who will accept my daughter and love them and love her. Things like that. There's a few other things in there, of course, too. It was like a paragraph. And, but anyway, I went to my notes section, copied and pasted it, sent it to him. He responded back and he was like, wow, that's a lot, And I said, yeah. I said, but it's pretty easy. It's simple. It's nothing crazy. Well, then today I sent him a message and I was like, hey, how's it going? I haven't talked to you, since last week. He goes, I gotta be honest with you, and sent me this long message about how that was too much. How no man can ever meet those expectations and no man will ever meet all of those expectations. And I need to learn to compromise. And how he's not interested in me, but he thinks we could be good friends. But because of that answer, we wouldn't work out.
Hey, bro. What? Oh my God!
Single mother. Just hearing her say, I don't have anyone to help me with her. You already know what that means. She's looking for a wallet with legs. This man noticed it quickly. He realized she was looking for a husband, and he only wanted something casual. As soon as she started with the sentimental tone and mentioned her daughter, the guy understood that wasn't the place for him. It's sad, yes, because she's a widow, and maybe with another man things would go well. But let's be honest, not every man wants to be a stepfather. That's the reality. He just wanted to sleep with her.
Women.
I was so mad. I tried to hear him out, but I was mad. And he asked me why I was mad. I tried to be civil with him, but I just kept getting angrier and angrier. And then eventually I deleted him because I essentially told him, if I'm too much, then you can go find less. Because I was so confused because I thought to myself, is this really too much to ask? And I ended up handing my phone to one of my best friends, or both of my friends at work. And I said, can you read this and tell me if this is too much? And they go, no, this is basic needs of asking someone to just be a good person, a good partner. And I said, okay, so I'm not crazy. And they're like, no. Cool. But I like to argue. It's a toxic trait of mine. So I did argue with him for a while. And he was like, well, when you learn to calm down, then you can message me back and then we can try to be friends. And I ended up deleting him, of course, but, yeah, I was like, you know what? I'm done. So I deleted all my dating apps and here we are. It just sucks, Dating in 2025. It's awesome. Anyways, I hope somebody else out there is having the time of their fucking lives, because I sure as hell is. I'm fucking not. I'm fucking not, that's for sure.
Brothers, the wall doesn't forgive. The ironic thing is that many believe a match on a dating app equals a relationship. They demand commitment, emotional stability, and maturity from a guy who hasn't even decided if he's going to see you again. Of course, at the first disagreement, they call him immature, and at the second, narcissist. All just because he won't play along with their emotional games. Arguing with someone you just met is a complete waste of time. There's no commitment, no history together. You only met on a dating app. What did you expect from that guy? You were just dating, nothing more. But hey, 2025 goes on, and the wall remains undefeated.
You know what I find so disgusting and disturbing is that feminists love to preach about women's choice. They promote that they give women choice, that they fought for women's choice. But when a woman chooses to be a wife and a mother and have lots of children and makes that her priority, they hate you for it. They hate you for it. They comment nasty things. They berate your husband. They berate your children. They berate you. I would love for everyone to go read the comments on Nara Smith's 4th baby announcement. They are all mostly negative, and the gist of it is basically that she's 24. She's having way too many kids too soon. She needs to slow down. Her husband's controlling her. She's not even her own person anymore. You know this society is sick when you announce that you're bringing another life into this world and you're met with mostly negativity. This is why I will always hate feminism, and no one will be able to convince me otherwise. I am not even a mother yet, and I get so much hate and backlash for getting married young. They say that I am controlled by a man, that I'm oppressing myself, that I'm not my own person, but then they'll scream that they support all women and they support choice. And by the way, if you are one of these antinatalist women who comments on a new mother's post saying that she shouldn't be having a lot of children, you suck and you are the worst type of person.
Misery loves company. It's that simple. Many of these women who criticize are the same ones who spend their child's money on a cat, who are alone and depressed in their homes, or who work in low-paying jobs where their boss oppresses them. But still, they criticize the woman who stays at home, well cared for, with a man who loves her, who cares about her health and that of her children, who treats her like a queen and covers her expenses, allowing her to take care of the most important role, being a mother. But as we all know, a woman's worst enemy is another woman. But the worst thing is not their criticism. The worst is living with a feminist. Check out the next video.
Women. Husband calls out his wife for having a useless degree.
It is a good start, but we're not.
What do you do on social media?
I mean, right now it's just our Facebook page, and our Instagram.
What do you do on your Facebook page and Instagram? What's your marketing there?
It's really just like talking about upcoming gigs.
Okay, you're a hobbyist. You're a hobbyist. You're a hobbyist. You're not a business. You're a hobby. You're not a business. You're a hobby.
You studied marketing and didn't use that.
I didn't study marketing. I did like one.
It was a certificate. That's the point.
Thing.
You were like ready to do something for us. You took a class and then didn't take the class, didn't finish it, didn't apply anything, and it can't get you in the office to work on these things.
I did apply some of it. It just didn't last.
You're good at everything I need you to do. You're so good at
but there's
everything
so many
you need
things to do. There's so many things to do.
Strategize.
Yeah. I really just need some time management.
No, you need to not justify every purchase you do.
Goth girl gets mad at her husband for not being able to afford to pay for her tattoo for her birthday.
That was about the money, really.
Yeah, that was about the money, wasn't it?
What happens? Demonstrate these conversations to me.
I think, the fighting over this tattoo, like, there's a sense of impulsiveness that I can really get behind, like 9 out of 10 times.
Tattoo.
But
I almost got a tattoo yesterday.
Okay, so you were gonna get a tattoo?
I was gonna get a tattoo. It was a birthday thing, and
okay.
Well, it's like
everything's a birthday thing on the show.
I really like to get tattoos because I get to, search different artists and do all that and check it out and find one I like. And it was really nice. And it was going to be a birthday gift. And then we were looking at finances in preparation and it was, actually, never mind. We can't afford this. We should cancel. And then that made me really emotional. And so now we're fighting about my birthday and
I think that's all really fair in the sense that, like, this is a really good example of, like, what part of the problem is. It's like,
well, you've got my birthday pretty much every year.
Have a habit of making the same mistakes and then being upset that we're still having them. Mm-hmm. And it would be really, really nice. It's just, it's one thing to be hard to say no to, like, oh, I just love saying yes to you. But it's like, sometimes I just can't say no to you. Like, you change. Well, like, it's different.
Well, listen, you have kind of fucked up my birthday like every year we've been together. So I thought, hey, maybe if I just lay out really clear instructions for what you should get me, then it'll go really well. And then it's still fucked up this year.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
This type of woman is not wrong out of ignorance. She is comfortable in her uselessness. She hides behind modern speeches while living off the effort of a man who still hasn't woken up. The most dangerous thing is that she shows no interest in changing. She doesn't use what she studied, doesn't propose solutions, and doesn't take real responsibility. A man who respects himself can't build with a woman who emotionally is still a teenager. If she doesn't contribute, doesn't get involved, doesn't push you to grow, then she's holding you back. Women like this are the ones who end up destroying good men. You can talk to her with proof and facts, but she won't change her stance. If you doubt it, watch the last part of the video.
Goth wife gets called out by husband for overspending their money.
I'm feeling like it's about spending. It's always going to come back to spending, and we haven't really touched on just how much spending there actually is. The more that we kind of prep for this show, the more I'm actually finding more, and it's not a surprise. It's a matter of thinking from choice to choice that it's fine, letting me think that it's fine, not knowing enough to feel like maybe this isn't fine. And like, it's not okay to just keep it's not reinvesting. I admit it. Like, so what are we going to do different?
Oh. I don't know. Because I want to just keep doing what we're doing. But that's
Are you
not
ready to
smart.
work?
Yeah.
That's a answer.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
It's not a matter of love. It's a matter of respect and leadership. A man who doesn't set boundaries ends up becoming an emotional and financial ATM. If a woman can do whatever she wants with you, she will lose respect for you. And without respect, no relationship works. There are guys who don't realize they no longer have a partner. They have dead weight. But they're afraid to be alone or start over. The problem is that if you don't cut it off in time, every day that passes takes you further from your true potential. Not every woman deserves a good man. Some only deserve distance. Sometimes a man has to learn to let go. If a woman doesn't help you grow, only holds you back, does nothing for you, then the problem isn't her, it's you for staying there. A man has to learn to say, I don't deserve this. I don't have to put up with this. Women like that don't change because they always know he's going to come save them. She knows how to manipulate him. But tell me, what do you think? I'll be reading your comments.
What's your age?
26.
Are you single?
No.
How long have you been with your man?
2 years.
And how does he feel about you having girls' nights?
Oh, he's so nice. He understands. He does believe in me having my girl time because I let him have his boy time too. So, I mean, it's a very healthy relationship. We trust each other. And he's like, yeah, do your thing. Have fun. Do what you got to do.
Did you ask him to help you pick out what you wear tonight, or did you just throw on your clothes and hop on out?
No, I threw on my clothes and I sent him pictures of it. He was like, oh, you look super cute. Okay, whatever. Have fun.
What makes you not dress super provocative when you come out?
I mean, I don't think it's a problem to dress provocative. Like, it's just what you wear. It's not that big a deal.
So how do you handle men when they come up to you and you're having girls' nights?
Well, I like to mention to them, oh, I'm here. My sister's getting married, or whatever. And it's very much like, oh, yeah. And I feel like they always ask, oh, do you have a man? Yeah, I do. And then.
So they don't come up and ask to buy you a drink or anything?
They do, yeah. But I mean, for the most part, I normally reject because we're all here together and we're all buying each other drinks. So I think I got a good group of girls where we take care of each other and we buy each other drinks. So we don't feel the need to find a drink from another man.
If you go on Reddit and open a thread asking what men think about girls' night, you'll realize that most were deceived while their partner was out with her friends. You only need to observe one thing. The clothes a woman wears when she goes out with her boyfriend or husband are not the same as what she wears when she goes partying with her friends. Do you know why? Because she already has her husband. She wears just enough, what she knows he likes. But with her friends, she enters a competition to see who gets the most attention. And how does she know she's winning? By the number of men who approach her. And since they're always in that competition, if a Chad, that attractive guy every woman wants, comes up to her, she lets him flirt. You might say, that's nothing if it doesn't go beyond that. But the simple fact of accepting drinks and interaction is already opening the door to failure. Remember, even if you can resist the devil, it doesn't mean you should sit with him.
I've never asked a man for money or gifts or anything like that. I honestly wouldn't do that. It's kind of weird to me. I just think that if you are dating the right type of man, you won't have to ask for those things. Like the right type of man that has a provider mindset and like wants to take care of you, wants to like be generous with you, like he's just going to do certain things without you having to ask. Last two guys that I dated were very much like that. Like I never asked for a Cartier bracelet. This man that I was dating like just wanted to get me something really nice. I barely even knew what Cartier was at the time. My Dyson Airwrap was a gift. One of them gave me a budget and a personal shopper at Bloomingdale's for my birthday. Like I just never asked for anything like that. Like I would never like expect those types of things. If you're dating the right type of man and he really likes you and he values you, he's just going to volunteer and offer to do these types of things. But if you think that just being pretty, just like looking good and being like nice is enough, it's not. Like if a man just values you for your looks, sure, he might like pay for things or give you some things, but like you are easily replaceable to him. He has to value you with everything else that you offer and that you bring. And I mean in terms of like your personality and like who you are, all of that. I think it's more beneficial for women to focus on enriching themselves, enriching who they are, their personality, the things that they have going on, because men find that attractive. When you have a lot of things going for yourself, you're passionate about what you do, like men like that. They find that attractive. And I think that's a better way to try to attract the right man versus just seeking out a man that can take care of you and provide for you.
Hey, bro. What?
Oh my God!
This is the most hypocritical speech I've ever heard. She tells you she earns her own money, that she doesn't need any man, that she buys whatever she wants, that she's strong and independent. But when it comes to finding a partner, you'll never see her with a poor man. She talks about how when a man gives something, he becomes replaceable. But if she's given something, she doesn't refuse it either. And they're the same ones who say, I don't ask anything from a man, but then drop phrases like, the man who loves you knows what you need. Of course, they don't ask you directly. They tell you their problems, say they have to solve this or that something worries them. Also, you'll solve it with money. But no, they don't ask for anything. Give me a break.
Women.
In the virtual courtroom, we have both parties as well as their respective counsel. Mr. Burke on behalf of the plaintiff, Mr. Haslam on behalf of the defendant. We're here on the defendant's motion for attorney fees. Mr. Haslam, I have read the motion. Is there anything else you'd like to say at this time?
I do have a few things. I do have a few things to add, Your Honor, that I think are germane to this motion. Number one, when we take the plaintiff's own appraisal and subtract the latest, at least the latest figure we have been provided with, I think from April, with respect to the marital home that she claims is all hers and refuses to acknowledge that there was any marital equity built up over the marriage, purchased with about a $17,400 down payment 2.5 weeks before marriage. That's a $340,000 source of untapped equity. She also has, again, according to the figures we were provided that date from March, over $172,124 in a 403B contributory retirement plan, which gives her, not with exactitude, because we're not subtracting her, credit card debt and things like that, I suppose, but that isn't that large. We've got a plaintiff here with a net worth exceeding $500,000. When we look at the other side, the flip side of this coin, this was a case and is a case, Your Honor, essentially of, I would suggest, gender reversal. We have a husband who doesn't earn very much. Her earnings are about 2.6 times his, even at this point. He has almost $382,000 in student loan debt. And he had to purchase a replacement transportation, that Toyota. And so that is very heavily leveraged. From the time of being in medical school, pursuant to the agreement of the family, his credit cards are tapped out. He does not have the ability, Your Honor, to walk into a bank and say, give me a personal loan. I think, as this court knows, anybody can go buy a car. That's because the new car is the collateral for the loan. And if you don't make the payment on the loan, they repossess the car and sell it. He's borrowed in the interim $10,000 from his mother, who I believe is in her 80s, but he has tapped out here his ability to borrow. And I know that counsel has thrown around a number of speculative and unsupported assertions in their response by plaintiff to this motion. They say he doesn't pay for anything. Anything he earns is just free mad money. Absolutely not true. He pays for the family's health insurance. He pays for auto insurance. He buys groceries. He pays all of the expenses for the children's expensive travel soccer, including the registration, uniforms, equipment, pays for the tournaments, and pays for the travel to take them on these travel soccer expeditions. And I know from personal experience, having done that with 2 of my children, it is very expensive.
As you can see, here we're dealing with a very interesting case, where Mr. Brandt is asking the court to order his ex-wife, Mrs. Brandt, to pay his attorney's fees. Apparently, this is part of a divorce settlement where she refuses to give up a single cent because, surprise, she's the one making nearly twice as much. When it comes to 50-50, suddenly she's not a fan. Brothers, Mr. Brandt is drowning in debt, with student loans nearing $400,000 and no way to continue funding his legal defense. That's why he wants to invoke MCR 3.206 D2. Michigan Court Rules, a provision that allows the court to order the party with greater resources to pay part of the other's legal fees in cases where there's a disparity in income. It's a tool meant to prevent one side from showing up with a legal dream team and the other with whatever their mom could lend them. But let's continue.
They say his loans are going to be forgiven. Absolutely not true and absolutely speculative. I think this court knows the status of student loan forgiveness programs. My client is not involved in a student loan forgiveness programs. The only way these loans are going to be paid back is by him paying them. And that's the fact at this point. That's entirely speculative. They say he should go borrow against his 403B. He isn't vested sufficiently to the point where he can borrow against the nominal amount of money in there. If I recall correctly, I think that's somewhere in the range of about $30,000, but he simply can't tap that at this point. The plaintiff also makes some misleading assertions and doesn't include dates in terms of this alleged loan the plaintiff took against her 403B some years ago. Both of these parties apparently had some credit card debt they wanted to pay off. And since my client was still a medical student at the time, she borrowed some money against her 403B and they paid off those credit cards. But that was years ago. And his credit cards are back to being maxed out because of all the expenses that he has incurred. And I would be remiss if I didn't tell the court that part of the process with respect to his attending medical school was that he didn't just borrow, Your Honor, the money to pay the tuition and fees and direct costs. He took additional, I think they're called plus loans, to recontribute what his income would.
Let me stop you a moment, Mr. Haslam. I read all that, so we're just kind of rehashing what I already read. So,
well, Your Honor, I wanted to respond to some of the misrepresentations made by the plaintiff here, and I know there's a question, and I think plaintiff raises it rhetorically. Well, he was only asking for $15,000 before. Now he's asking for more. Well, as you read in my supplement, Your Honor, we wasted almost an entire day at mediation with no response other than just flat nose to the plaintiff. We then find out that they have hired a very expensive valuation analyst, Michelle Gallagher, and paid $5,000. She claims the source of some of her expenditures are loans from her parents. We've seen no promissory notes. To the extent her litigation is being funded when she makes between $150,000 and $160,000 a year being funded by third parties, I think that makes it more appropriate to give him an award of fees. Look, she's taken the position that as far as their children are concerned, and they're both still living together in the marital home, he can have parenting time as they agree when he's not working.
This woman is earning between $150,000 and $160,000 a year. She's probably a doctor or has some high-level profession, because that's a lot of money. On top of that, the house has already been fully appraised and it's valued at over $700,000. So she knows exactly how much everything is worth, but she doesn't want to split anything. She's dragging out the process on purpose. Why? Because the more time goes by, the more she can protect her assets before the division. I won't deny it. As a strategy, it's working out for her. The problem is that this poor guy doesn't have that luxury. That's why he filed a request for $15,000 in attorney's fees, using the MCR 3.206 D2 rule. In simple terms, he's asking her to pay so he can keep fighting against her. It sounds ironic, but without that help, he can't keep going. Later on, we'll take a look at how much he could get in a 50-50 split, and I'll tell you right now, there's a lot on the line.
And that should be in a final judgment, and that none of this $340,000 in equity in the marital residence he's entitled to. And then they have the temerity to file a response to a motion alleging in a public court file, implying that somehow my client when getting massages to treat his spinal radiculopathy, his cervical spine radiculopathy from his years of firefighting, that somehow he's consorting with prostitutes. I find that argument and that strategy to be absolutely, simply absolutely inappropriate. We're asking for the increased amount because unfortunately we can see the handwriting on the wall here. And with her $500,000 in assets to fund this, in addition to receiving additional money from her parents, my client being tapped out and his only source of funds being his 80-something-year-old mother, and that has come to an end. He is entitled to an award of fees and costs under MCR 3.602D to enable himself to hire an expert, pay his lawyer, and fund his defense of this action.
Mr. Burke.
Thank you, Your Honor. I don't want to regurgitate what is in my responses and briefs. I know that was probably a lot of reading for you, but I want to just note the timeline of defendant demanding $25,000 in attorney fees. He filed this motion immediately before mediation in an attempt to coerce a settlement. And Your Honor, Ms. Brandt did participate in mediation in good faith. We actually went over the time limit that we had originally scheduled for mediation. I pushed back appointments in that day to complete mediation. And quite simply, we weren't going to agree to defendant's demands. And what does he do after this? He increases it by $10,000 after mediation. And quite simply, this is nothing more than a money grab, Your Honor. The defendant makes $65,000. As referenced in my brief, that is an average household income in Michigan. And the only financial document before this court, when it's defendant's burden to prove this motion, is actually an exhibit that we submitted showing his attested monthly expenses, which are nominal. I've recently reviewed some financial statements provided by defendant showing that his student loan payments are about $50 a month from the withdrawals that I could see out of one account. I know that Mr. Haslam focused on the equity in the house. That's not relevant as to an ability to pay. And the reality is that Ms. Brandt still has a loan against her retirement account for the $14,000 credit card fees that she paid on defendant's behalf. I do want to just reference briefly excuse me here, Your Honor, the Smith v. Smith case that is referenced in our brief in support. Mr. Haslam is familiar with that case, and it comes from this circuit court and then affirmed on it by the Court of Appeals, showing that it is defendant's burden, not through blanket assertions in an affidavit, but providing actual financial documents to support the requested relief.
Stop it. Get some help.
I've got to say, the defendant's lawyer is pretty sharp. We're talking about a situation where this man could receive up to $340,000 just from the equity built up in the house. On top of that, he earns $65,000 a year. Not a fortune, but definitely not a miserable salary either. Meanwhile, his ex-wife has over $500,000 in assets, which clearly gives her room to drag this process out. And that's exactly what she's doing, using time as a strategic advantage. But her lawyer dropped a key line. If you're claiming to be broke, then show us the bills. Because if you can't prove your expenses, then you're just lying in court. And this is where the case Smith versus Smith comes in. It makes it very clear, words aren't enough. You have to present real evidence, receipts, bank statements. If you don't, your motion falls apart. That's why things are getting interesting now, because next up is the response from Mr. Brandt's attorney. And trust me, he didn't stay quiet.
The defendant has very minimum expenses, and his income is quite simply disposable income that he uses for his sole benefit. We ask that the court deny this motion. We think that he has the ability to pay, especially considering the fact that in less than a year, he's going to be making in excess of over $300,000. In addition to that, there are several loans available for resident physicians, recognizing that in this interim residency period, they don't make significant money compared to what they will make outside of their residency. He has funds available to him, and we ask that the court deny this motion.
Thank you, Your Honor. As the court no doubt is well aware, I am familiar with Smith versus Smith. It's my reported case in the Michigan Court of Appeals dealing with termination or modification of post-judgment spousal support based on cohabitation. That's a completely different context, and it really is inapposite to a request for attorney fees and costs to enable my client to defend this action. He doesn't have $5,000 to hire somebody like Michelle Gallagher in this situation. He's entitled to do that, and he's entitled not to be oppressed by the party with all the assets and all the money. Like I said, you take a look at that net worth, my client's a negative almost $400,000, and the equity in the home is certainly relevant. One can set up a home equity line of credit in about 48 hours to have access to those funds. And for counsel to sit here and say, I know about loans that are maybe available to resident physicians. Again, speculation, just like, oh, all his student loans are going to be forgiven, with absolutely no factual support. What we do have factual support for, Your Honor, is that the plaintiff here has an income that far surpasses my client. We have to look at this point in time. Number two, he's tapped out his available lines of credit. Number three, the plaintiff will continue in this litigation. She has engaged this expert. She says she's going to value his degree. We have to be able to do that as well. And we can't be victimized by the plaintiff's obvious plan here to put Ryan in a position where he can't pay his lawyers. His outstanding bill with me, I think, is almost $9,200 at this point, and to hire an expert. Now, when I asked for the itemized billings that the plaintiff had paid her lawyer, they claimed it was privileged and only sent me transfer documents showing money being transferred from their trust account, I believe, to their general account. But in any event, look, we have a huge disparity in income. We have a humongous disparity in assets. Will he likely make some money in the future? Probably, but we have to get through this case now. Our 1-year anniversary is coming up, I believe, in February, and he has to have funds available to him at this point to defend this action. We don't care if the court labels this temporary attorney fees or labels it an advance that would be determined later by the court as to whether it's attorney fees or an advance on his property settlement award. Either one. But right now, he does not have the money to adequately defend himself in this act.
Solid defense from Mr. Brandt's attorney. We'll see later what the judge has to say, but for now, he made things clear. He responded that the accusations from the wife's lawyer are nothing but pure speculation, that he might earn more in the future, that he could get loans, that his debts might be forgiven. But as he himself said in court, decisions aren't made on maybes. They're made based on facts. And under the law, speculation is not valid legal evidence. And he did bring facts, that she earns twice as much, holds all the assets, receives financial help from her parents, and even hired a professional appraiser just to drag things out. It's clear her plan is to hold out financially until he can't keep up, a common tactic when you have the money to sustain it. That's exactly why he invoked MCR 3.206 D2, which allows the court to order the party with more resources to cover legal fees when there's a disparity in income. As his lawyer put it, we don't want charity, we want a fair fight. And in family law, the court is obligated to ensure that.
All right, thank you. Pursuant to MCR 3.206, based on the information that the court has at this point, the court finds that the plaintiff does have the ability to assist in attorney fees for the defendant, that the defendant does have some need, given the disparity of income and the litigious nature of this case, particularly with the hiring of an expert. So the court will grant $15,000 as an advance on any ultimate property settlement.
How soon is that to be tendered to my trust account, Your Honor?
14 days.
14 days. Thank you. I'll prepare an order.
Brothers, justice has been served. Mrs. Brandt will have to pay $15,000 to Mr. Brandt's attorney. Why? Because she's the one earning more. She holds the assets. She hired experts to stall the process, and yet still expected him to defend himself without a dime. And as the judge said, there's a proven income disparity and a demonstrated need. That triggers Rule MCR 3.206 D2, which allows the court to order one party to pay legal fees if those two factors are met. But the key here was the defense by Mr. Brandt's lawyer. He didn't come to whine. He came to prove his case. He brought numbers, compared incomes, documented the debt, and dismantled the other side's narrative with a clear argument. My client can't continue in this case unless the playing field is leveled. While her lawyer talked about possible loans and future income, he presented hard, verifiable facts. And in court, as established in Smith versus Smith, decisions aren't made based on speculation. They're based on evidence. That's why he won. Mrs. Brandt's face when she heard the ruling said it all. She took a deep breath because she realized the show was over. We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, the questions are for you. If she had $500,000 in assets, why did she want her ex to be left without a lawyer? What do you think of Mr. Brandt's lawyer's defense? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the world to us and keeps us motivated to keep creating more content. Stay tuned for the next exciting video from the wall.